Peter Doherty, what's moving faster, the science or the virus?
The science is going to be behind the virus because we can't predict how it'll change, or even whether it will further change in a way that worries us. And it's really gratifying that this Delta strain, the latest one, which is growing so much better, and it's learnt to grow, I think, in the absence of vaccination and all that, we're still sort of keeping it pretty well under control. People are getting infected and they're getting a bit sick, but they're not generally going to hospital and they're not dying.
There was an article in The Lancet recently which said that the Delta variant was putting people in hospital at an 85% higher rate than the original variant of the virus. What is the risk that a slow rollout of the vaccination actually gives the virus a bit of a head start to sort of jump ahead of the vaccines that we now have? Basically,
Laura, in the US, 90% of the people, 97% of the people who are dying from COVID now are unvaccinated. And they've mostly had the Pfizer vaccine or the equivalent. So, we've got this great vaccine, which is terrific. Would have been terrific if we got it out there earlier. We didn't. No point in crying over spilt milk. I think it's in hand now. The doses are coming. I don't see with General Fruin organising this and everyone pretty well organised at the state level, why we can't get everyone who wants to be vaccinated by the end of the year. I think that's very reasonable. And I think everyone should try to get vaccinated. If we can get 80% or more, that would be fantastic. They're great vaccines, actually, both of them.
What's your idea of what the new normal might look like?
It's hard to predict, but I think once we've got a high number of people vaccinated, and hopefully we might even be able to find some antiviral drugs. There's some drugs coming along that could be used to treat people who are very sick or who are very vulnerable if they get infected. So they're coming along too. So I hope we're thinking about ordering them. But I think we'll get back to a more normal life next year, I expect. But it's going to be difficult politically for the politicians to open up because there will be disease circulating, and we're so accustomed to the idea that no virus should circulate. But we don't shut down the country because of flu. We shut down the country with this because people are dying or getting very sick or getting that horrible, horrible long COVID, which is debilitating people and so many people. So I hope we'll be back to something more like normalcy next year. The Netherlands have opened up earlier than the UK with a whole lot of infection going on, and they've had to shut down the bars and the nightclubs again. So, that sort of scene may have to be fairly quiet for a while.
If I could ask you a question in your role as an octogenarian, as much as a scientist, that people are starting to focus on the way this virus is changing the way we see the world. Apparently our brains are actually changing shape to deal with the uncertainty. But I'm interested in your view as an older person who's more used to dealing with uncertainty in life because things used to be harder. How do you see that sort of aspect of this virus and how it's affecting our society?
Well, I hope it's educating us to realise that the world isn't a totally safe place. I mean, the world is a dangerous place. We're in danger every day. Think of standing by a busy street and stepping out into the cars, for instance, at the wrong time. The main danger to me actually is walking on the footpath and being hit by a bicycle ridden at 30 miles an hour by a student or a young mother with two kids on the back. It is, and I was born, I'm a Second World War baby, so we grew up with the idea of danger. But not above that, I'm a research scientist. I'm constantly spent my life asking questions that haven't been asked, hopefully. And so I failed a lot. I've realized that uncertainty is part of everything, and that's the way we live. And maybe, the best thing we could do, re-educating people generally, is getting people with the idea that our lives are governed by probability and relative risk. And that's how we see things. We do that when we get into a car and we put on a seatbelt. Most of us are aware that a seatbelt normally protects us, but most of us are also aware that sometimes it can make an accident worse. And that's life.
Well, we keep hoping that you're going to ask more questions. So thanks so much for your time tonight, Peter.
Thank you very much, Laura.
Hi, I'm Lee Sales. Thanks for watching this story. If you'd like to watch more of 7:30's stories, they are on the left of your screen. And tap on the button below to subscribe and get the latest from ABC News.